Are the Toronto Maple Leafs on the verge of a game-changing trade? Rumors are swirling as the deadline approaches, and fans are buzzing about potential reinforcements that could push us closer to that elusive Stanley Cup. Imagine the impact of a new center or a solid defenseman joining the ranks. What does that mean for our chances this season? Stay tuned as we dive into the latest speculation that could redefine our roster and ignite our playoff hopes. And if you want to stay in the loop with all things Leafs, don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button. As we dive into the latest buzz surrounding our beloved Toronto Maple Leafs, it's hard to ignore the whispers of potential trade targets that could help elevate this team to new heights. Frankly, it feels like this season could be the one where the Leafs finally break through and bring home the Stanley Cup. But are the moves being discussed the right ones? Let's break down the current situation and some names floating around that we should approach with caution. One name that's been tossed around is Yanni Gourde. Now, I know many fans might be excited about the prospect of bringing him into the fold, but honestly, I'm torn. Sure, he has energy and grit, but his status as a pending unrestricted free agent raises a red flag for me. What price would we have to pay for a rental who might not even fit seamlessly into our lineup? Plus, Gourde hasn't consistently produced at a level that would make him a top 6 solution. If Austin Matthews or John Tavares went down with an injury, relying on Gourde could leave us wanting more. Then there's the issue of size. While he plays with heart, I can't help but feel that we need a little more intimidation factor on our roster. If we're looking for a middle six center, why not consider someone like Jean-Gabriel Pageau instead? He brings a bit more size, a bit more offense, and most importantly, an extra year on his contract. That's the kind of move that could make sense for us, rather than going all in on Gourde, who might just leave us shorthanded. Moving on to defense, let's talk about David Savard. Every year I find myself saying no thank you to him, and it's for good reason. While he's been a solid player, he doesn't fill the void we desperately need on the blue line. Toronto is looking for a two-way defender, not just another stay-at-home guy who can't elevate his game when called upon. Savard might fit as a third pairing guy on a team that needs depth, but we're not in a position where we can afford to make trades that don't address our core issues. And speaking of core issues, Dylan Cozens has come up in discussions. He's an intriguing player, no doubt, but I have my reservations about him being the right fit for the immediate future. With a hefty cap hit of $7.1 million until 2030, trading for him would mean banking on potential rather than guaranteed performance. It's a risk, and one I'm not sure we should take right now given the stakes. I'd rather the Leafs pursue a player with a more predictable outcome if we're looking to enhance our playoff chances. Now, let's not forget about Josh Anderson. His name came up in the conversation, and honestly, I'm baffled by it. He doesn't bring the offensive consistency we need, and his fit on the team seems questionable at best. If we're considering him, we might as well look at other names that could be more beneficial. Players like Andrei Kuzmenko or Kyle Palmieri could also fall under the too pricey for what they bring category. Darren Dreger recently weighed in on the commercial potential of Mitch Marner after the blockbuster trade that sent Mikko Rantanen to Carolina. For those of us who bleed blue and white, this is a pivotal moment for the Toronto Maple Leafs as they navigate the complexities of Marner's future. While Rantanen's deal sent shockwaves through the league, it has also cast a spotlight on the uncertainty surrounding Marner's status with the Leafs. Now, Dreger made it clear that while on the surface, Marner's situation might seem similar to Rantanen's, there are critical differences at play. For one, Marner has a full no-trade clause, which means if he were to be moved, he'd have to agree to it. And honestly, can we imagine him wanting to leave the only team he's ever known? Where does he have a better shot at winning the Stanley Cup? Sure, teams like Florida and Vegas are tempting, but are they guaranteed contenders? I don't think so. This makes a trade feel less probable, at least in my eyes. The most significant factor here is that the Leafs want to keep Marner, and it's quite clear that he wants to stay in Toronto. He's expressed a desire to continue his career here, which is great news for us fans. The only real hurdle is the business side of things. If Marner woke up tomorrow and decided he wanted to sit down with Brad Treliving to hammer out an extension, I'm confident that the Leafs would jump at that opportunity without hesitation. Now, I know Marner has made it clear that he's not interested in discussing contracts at the moment. He wants to let things unfold naturally. But here's where it gets tricky. There are reports suggesting that the Leafs might be hesitant to pay him as much as Austin Matthews. That's a slippery slope, and it puts us fans in a tough spot. We want to see him rewarded for his performance, but we also know that the salary cap is a real beast that has to be tamed. Drieger highlighted that the buzz around Marner isn't solely about the Leafs, it's about the larger hockey community. When a player of Marner's caliber is in the spotlight, it draws attention. If Elias Pettersson had made a similar move, I don't think we'd be having the same level of conversation. Rantanen is a pending UFA, and while both players are incredibly talented, Marner's situation remains unique. We've seen Marner consistently perform at a high level, and with the pressure mounting to reach an agreement, it's clear that he's in a position to command a hefty salary. Rumors suggest he could be looking at a deal between $13 and $14 million per season, and there are teams out there with ample cap space ready to make a splash for a player of his talent. If the Leafs are worried about their internal salary cap, then offering Marner an 8-year deal at $12.95 million could mean an overall total of $103.6 million, which is nothing to scoff at. But honestly, does a difference of $250,000 really matter when you're talking about such astronomical figures? It makes me wonder just how deep Marner's love for the Leafs runs. If he truly wants to do right by the team and the fans, he should consider locking in a deal that allows him to chase glory with the Maple Leafs for the next 8 years. At the end of the day, it's about more than just money. It's about legacy. Marner has the opportunity to solidify his place in the history of this storied franchise. And with the recent trade involving Rantanen, the urgency for the Leafs to act becomes even clearer. This could be the moment that defines not just Marner's career but also the trajectory of the Maple Leafs for years to come. So, what do you think, Leafs Nation? Was this the right move? Honestly, I'm torn. On one hand, keeping a superstar like Marner is crucial for our Stanley Cup aspirations. On the other hand, we need to be mindful of the salary cap and the long-term health of the team. And you? What do you think? I want to hear your opinions down below. If you're as passionate about the Leafs as I am, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for all the latest updates. And make sure to activate that notification bell so you don't miss a single moment as this story unfolds.